DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. I get a lot of emails from athletes who are basketball players specifically who are maybe older. And when I say older for basketball, we're talking like 24 and up, somewhere between 24 and 35. And athletes are wondering, is it too late for me? Has my time passed? Do I still have a chance to make it in basketball? Do I have an opportunity to play overseas if I still want to pursue my dream, or see how far I can go with my talent? And even though I've made a video already about when is it too late in basketball, you can look that video up. Anybody who hasn't seen it, it may be a suggested video wherever that shows up. And on my website at DreAllDay.com, I have an athletes page where I give you a ton of information, literal roadmaps for what you need to do athletically. For overseas hopefuls or overseas prospects, I still get these questions about what to do if you're trying to play overseas, or any advice I might have for you to play overseas. So I want to make this video right here to be succinct about what you need to do if you're thinking about or trying to, or you're hoping for some advice, guides, etc., etc. Number one is, there's a post that I wrote damn near 10 years ago about if you want to play overseas, what are the steps? The number one step is make a fucking decision. And that's still the number one step. And 20 years from now, it will still be the number one step for anything really that you want to do that's ambitious. Something like playing ball overseas, especially when it's not like a guaranteed if you do these steps that is just absolutely going to work out. And that can be for anything. You want to be an actor. You want to start a business that's successful. So a lot of things, you want to be a rapper. These things, they're not colored by numbers. So it's not like if you do these exact things, you're guaranteed to reach success, which means you're taking a risk. Just by even wanting to do it, you're taking a risk. For example, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, there's certain steps to take. It may not be easy, but the path is clear. To be a professional athlete, the path is not clear and is not guaranteed. You just might have bad luck. So are you willing to take that risk and make the decision that you're going to go with whatever happens, and however that outcome turns out, it turns out? First of all, that's the number one thing. Until you've made a decision that you're really going to do it, you could watch every video on YouTube, read every article out there, buy every book, ask everybody you know for advice or guidance or whatever other bullshit a lot of you athletes be asking me about. You still ain't gonna do nothing. You're still gonna go nowhere. You're still gonna be at home, watching YouTube, talking about, I was thinking about playing ball overseas. And the next thing on top of that is, you need to take some action. It's actually the only two things. It ain't even so many steps. I don't want to give you more information and more things to cloud your brains. That's really the last thing that you need. We all understand that as an athlete, your shelf life is very short. Right? It's not like a lawyer or a doctor. You can be a lawyer or a doctor forever. Right? Until the day you die, you can still be practicing medicine or practicing law. In sports, you got about 20 years max, from about age 20-ish to about age 40-ish, and that's if you're fucking Kobe. All right, if you're not as talented as Kobe, or you're not as lucky as Kobe, and you're not as gifted to start that early, and you're not as great to be able to finish that late, you might have a much smaller window. You might start playing at 22 and be done by 30. So you don't have this long shelf life. So all of this information gathering that a lot of y'all are doing, or advice requesting, or do you have any other guidance? Like, people will read the articles that I've written. These are the things you need to do to play overseas. I literally lay it out for you in an article, and somebody will leave a comment that says, well, do you have any other advice aside from what's already in the article? I'm like, yo, what is like that Tyrese meme? What more do you want from me? I don't know what else to tell you, man. If you want to play somewhere and do something, then at some point, you got to stop grabbing information and you got to go take some action. You got to go put yourself out there. You got to go to an exposure event, and in the game group, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. I go in detail and actually look through each of these exposure events and tell you what I like and what I don't like, and my recommendations for whether you should attend this camp or should not attend this camp. I answer questions in detail. So any of you who have these minutia questions, if you're a member of the game group, I will indulge you and answer your questions, but I'm not gonna keep answering these same questions over and over again. That's really the reason why I start making videos, so I don't have to keep answering the same questions over and over. So I got a membership. It's called the Game Group. It's on my website. It's at DreAllDay.com/membership. And what I do there, one thing that I do, there's a million things that we do, but the main things is that we give you strategies that produce actual tangible results. So if you want somebody to be your personal strategist to walk you through the process for your specific situation, because everybody's situation is unique, right? So anything specific for you is specific advice, things that you need to do because your situation is a little bit different than everybody else's. In the game group, in the forum section, that's where I answer questions in detail. You have certain challenges or you applied something that I said, but there's still a little bit of challenge that you have, you bring it to me and I answer it right there. Again, that's in the forum, in the game group membership for those of you who are you really need some help and really need some advice. That's where I'm giving my advice. I've given too much advice on YouTube and on my blogs and all of that, social media and all that for years. So any of you who still needs information after all of that, honestly, a lot of you just need to take action. And then when you take action, then you may need some information because you start to see, the results of what you're doing. But at some point, you gotta get out there and learn through experience. I mean, there's only so much advice you can gather before you do something with it. You ain't even remember all that advice. At some point, you gotta make a move if you plan on really doing it. I mean, I think a lot of people talk about these ambitious things like I want to be an actor or actress, I want to be a musician, I want to be a movie star, I want to be a professional athlete. These things that sound good, I want to start my own company and sell it to some Silicon Valley investor. They all sound good when you're talking about it, but to actually do it and put it into action, it involves some risk and it involves some investment. And a lot of people ain't willing to put that out there once it gets past the talking phase. And that includes athletes, because I hear from the athletes all the time. So any of y'all out there who's an actor or a venture capitalist or someone who started a business and you had a successful exit, you probably hear from people in your sector who talking about doing it, but they don't really want to do the things that you had to do in order to make that happen. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They want to talk about it until it comes to the point where you gotta shoot your guns at some point. And I don't even know how many times I'm gonna have to say that. Hopefully not too many more. So that's what I'm saying here on this video. So just to recap the 2 points. Number one, make a decision, because until you made a decision, you'll never do anything. You will never take action. You'll keep gathering information, keep asking dumbass questions that are taking you nowhere, and nothing's gonna happen. And step two, you gotta take action. You gotta commit to that action, then you gotta do something. You're not committed to a decision until you put some action behind it and put something real behind those words and behind those thoughts and behind that wondering or behind that, I wanna reach my dream and all this other shit that people be saying. Until you take some action that commits you to what you're talking about, I don't believe you. And that's in the game group. The link to the game group is down there. For any of you who wants to be helped, like you wanna be helped step by step by me, I will do it for you if you're a member of the game group. Otherwise, you got this video. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.